Hello everybody. I'm just doing a quick recording because I want to show the unit that was my granddad's old workbench that my dad wants repairing, not to a finish like the unit but to a usable finish. Obviously you can tell from the condition of the drawers they are not in good condition. The handles are, well, they're going to be replaced. Going to use the handles that I could have used on the unit, but I've decided not to. Now I know it looks like there's a couple of drawers missing. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, I think we may have one drawer missing, but that's not too much of a problem because here's the condition of one of the drawers. So that needs making. Here's another drawer. I don't know if that is actually one of the drawers out of this unit. It looks too big, but I could be wrong. It might be. And there is another one on the shelves. But so if we need to make a drawer, it's not too much of a problem because I've got to make that one anyway. Now, as for the actual worktop itself, I've seen worse, I've seen better. This is going to need a little bit of work. Now I know that my dad wants to be involved in doing this as well, so we may have different ideas. There's kind of like what I'd be willing to do and what he thinks isn't needed, or what he thinks we should do. And more than likely we'll end up doing what he thinks he should do, but it depends on whether he trusts me enough to just go for it. Because for example, where he's had to screw the wood down here, personally I'd fill them in, because if this is going to be a working workbench, then ideally you want a level top, or at least as level as possible. So I'm thinking fill in them. And one of the reasons why I'm thinking that as well is because there are a few holes to fill. Now we know how to do that. There's a couple of ways that I could do it. I mean, I did it with the dowels previously, and I'd do it again here, to be honest. But whereas previously I filled the holes with wood dust, I could do it with wax. But to be honest, because I'm not going to be waxing this, I'll probably use the wood dust. The two biggest problems is this bit where the two are not level. But what we're going to do is get a piece of wood that could go across there, but on the underneath, and basically screw to both pieces, and then hopefully that should pull them both together, or at least hopefully pull them together enough that I might be able to sand a flat finish on there. And the other bit is this. Now the two planks of wood were initially, the way they connected, so you can actually see it, yeah, you might see in there, it's hollow. The way it was connected was kind of like a hook and loop system, where the wood had a loop, it had a hole, a slot for that nail, that screw to slot into, and that's how the two were connected. So obviously that's a hole that's going to need sorting out, and to be honest, I'm in two minds about how to sort that out, because it is quite a big bit. Now admittedly the screw is not necessary anymore because both pieces of wood are screwed in independently as well. So I'm in two minds about how to deal with that. To be honest, I don't intend in taking the top off, so it'd just be a case of potentially filling that hole, but I don't know how. This is just some paper that'll come off. My dad don't even know what that is. Now the other biggest part is, and I've mentioned this before, is that I need to make a leg. But what I've actually decided to do is, because having looked at over the unit a bit more, it is a very makeshift unit. It has been chopped up, built, put together to fit in two different areas over the course of, God knows, 60 years, maybe longer. Excuse me. So for example, if I show you down here, might not be able to see it too well, down here, this bit is actually bowed. It's a bit hard to see with the light really, but yeah, so the bottom bit is bowed, and if you look, I've only just realised that it's not got a solid piece all the way across the bottom. It's got two pieces and then a brace piece. Now, my dad had an idea, and I've got to admit, I agree with him, which is, one possibility would be to cut off all of the legs and effectively build a new frame for the bottom. So for the whole thing out of like studding timber, like what's holding the leg up. And by doing that, basically what we'd do is we'd give ourselves a flat base and then a brand new solid base, and whereas like this has bowed, we can get rid of the extra piece of wood and we can actually stick additional legs in. So the middle part of that one won't bow and the middle part of this one won't bow. So we can actually put additional legs in. It would also allow us to choose what type of legs we want to put on, attachable, detachable, but also with the newer timber, it should be easier to attach the casters to it. Oh, excuse me. Yeah, so in a way it'd almost be like making a dolly frame, but actually the timber's going to be part of the unit and hopefully strengthen it all up. And to be honest, I'm thinking that's the first thing that needs to be done, because that'll let us know if there's any issues. I mean, even before we start doing the top. And the reason I say that is, if we was to do the top and get it all level and then do the bottom, if that then put it all out of level, I'd have to redo it. So I might as well get the bottom sorted out. That's one of the reasons why I've got the casters already. And if I remember rightly, the distance from the underneath the bottom piece of timber on that workbench was about just under 100 mil, about 98 mil. The casters should be 101 mil tall. So effectively, when the casters are on there, the legs wouldn't even touch. Now, if we added timber on, then it'd be a lot bigger anyway. But the casters are not there to stay. They are simply going to be there to help move the unit. So I know I'd said that this unit is like one of my next two projects, and yes, the cabinet is still ongoing. Annoyingly, I am going to have to wait until the new year to get some new handles. I have already picked them, I've already selected them, I've already checked the sizes and double checked the sizes, and I will triple check the sizes. And they're not overly expensive either, but I'm going to check them and check them. And the handles that I was going to use that I can't, we'll use on this new workbench. Now I might need to get a few more of them, but I don't mind that because they're good handles, and they'll suit this unit. So personally, I do think that to begin with, we need to get the underneath sorted out. Now, I don't think I've got enough timber here at the moment to be able to start that. However, I do know that Steve is moving house, my brother, and in the house he's currently in is a sort of triple bunk bed made out of wood, made out of timber, studded timber, and there should be more than enough of that to do this. Now, it just so happens that Steve has decided to donate that wood to my dad, which in turn means I can use it. So I probably will use it. So what I'm hoping to do today, because I think Steve moves house tomorrow, and then the day after is when the beds need taken apart, so I'll be there to get the wood. So what I'm thinking for today, because we are getting close to Christmas now, I'm annoyed about not being able to finish the cabinet. It's done other than the drawers, other than the handles, and I'm really annoyed that they didn't work, but that's the way it goes. Now, what I want to try and do today is I want to try and get all of the drawers out of the unit so that I can find out how many of them, if any, need repairs, because I've never built drawers. I've stuck them together, IKEA drawers, but they're not the same as these. These have got a same, is it dovetail connection joint, sorry, dovetail joint that the fancy cabinet has, and I've never done anything like that. Now I'm sure my dad has, so I'm sure he'll be able to show me how. So we know we've got to make at least one drawer, so I need to find out if we need to make more. And by taking all of the drawers out of the unit, hopefully it'll make it light enough for it to be able to be tipped onto its side. And the reason I'd like to tip it onto its side is so that I can actually literally just screw the frame that we're going to make to it, to the bottom of it. Basically make the frame up and screw it straight to it, and then that part should be done. But also I'd be able to screw the timber onto the bottom, and then while it's still on its side, screw the casters on, or bolt them on. I'm thinking screw, to be honest. So screw the casters on. Now that then should make it at least A, stable, and B, movable. One person should be able to move it piece of piss because it's on wheels. So I'd like to be able to get that done, but I can't build the frame until we've got the wood. But when I have got the wood, I don't want to be faffing about moving drawers and finding out that bits are broken and getting disappointed or frustrated. I might as well get that frustration and potential disappointment out of the way today, so that next time I'm here, I can literally just crack on with the frame. We are also going to cover the back of the unit to help sturdy that up as well, but hopefully the new timber and the new legs will help massively. As for how far we take the finish, well, the drawer's going to need sanding down on the faces anyway because they look a bit nasty, but all of the drawers are going to need edging. And I don't think that's the right term, but it's the term I'm going to use. A bit like with the cabinet, where with all of the drawers I sanded quite a bit off on the top and the bottom of the sides, and on the inside of the unit I sanded all of the insides where the drawer would be running along it. By sanding it, it's made it so that the drawers just slide in and out, whereas the drawers on this unit don't slide in and out very well. Now part of that is going to be because it's old, dusty, dirty, and they've been in there a long time, and another part is because potentially the cabinet is twisted, and if that's the case, it's going to make it difficult to come out. So they all are going to need sanding down anyway, so I'm going to call that edging the runners. Hang on, isn't edging a pornographic term? Okay, I might not call it edging. So yeah, I've no idea how long it'll take. So anyway, so the drawers need sanding down, and they're going to need treating in one way or another. The actual unit itself could do with sanding down, and if there's any repairs that need making, we're going to have to make them. But they don't need making to an antique style finish. They just, if it needs repairs, it needs practical repairs, because it's going to be a working worktop. And then for the actual surface, it's an interesting one now, because I mean, as a workbench, it probably doesn't really want much on it. It may want a similar wax treatment to the kitchen table that I did for my folks, where it's at least protected, but doesn't have a varnish. Now, admittedly, I think one of the things I might perhaps regret about the kitchen table is that I got a clear wax. That's what I wanted. I wanted it to be clear. I wanted it to show the natural. Part of me wonders whether it may have looked better with a slightly coloured wax, but then it wouldn't have been natural for me, so that's why I did it. But for this one, maybe I could use a coloured one. It depends on what it looks like when it's sanded down, but it will get sanded down. And if it works out that the top is too warped and misshaped to be a practical workbench, then quite simply we'll put another top on top of it and keep that there as a base, but put another top on top of it. So I'm daydreaming then. I was just thinking about doing something just for the fun of it, but it'd be a bit pointless. Well, it wouldn't be pointless. I was thinking about if I got a number of pieces of timber and stuck them together in like different in a different pattern, so I glued them, screwed them together, or what have you, and then just sand them down and smooth it off and use it to try different polishes, waxes, stuff like that. It might not be a bad idea, you know. I mean, I could probably even use pallet wood for it, because even pallet wood, I mean, you look at pallet wood and it's rough and it's sharp and it's splintery. It don't take long to sand that down to a lovely smooth finish. Obviously it's not top quality wood, but you can still get it down to a nice smooth finish. Anyway, I've been waffling for a while. I am going to go and see how these drawers are, and see how much of a problem they're going to cause us. Okay, so the drawers are out and we are looking at the back of the unit at the moment. Here is where the leg is broken, and I'm having a quick look at this, so I've got an idea of how I may need to fix it, because if we are putting a new base down, which is effectively timber like this, and it comes up here, then there's still a gap from there to there, so I'm going to need to make sure that that'll be secured. But I definitely do think putting this stuff on is the right idea, for a couple of reasons. One, stability, sturdiness, newness, but also because some of these legs, like this one, kind of rotted away a bit. Now, I do know that this unit got water damaged, oh god, 30 years ago, something like that. And this is the bit where, interesting. I think, to be honest, what I'd be tempted to do there is get rid of this piece of wood, chop that, put a piece of wood in between it, and then perhaps get a metal plate to secure it, perhaps on the back or even on the inside there, secure it on the sides, and then obviously we'd have a beam going all the way across here anyway. So yeah, so a few of the legs are rotted, so I think it'd be a good idea to take the legs off personally and go with the idea of building a whole new frame, and making it all much sturdier. But instead of giving it 6 legs, I reckon we give it, what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on each side. So leg in the corner, leg here, and then there, and then there, and then there. That'll help it massively. But I do find it interesting how, I don't know whether it's simply how it's been put together or how it's had its repairs, but like, these bits, for example, well, clearly they are there for two reasons, I would guess. One is so that the drawers butt up to it, and two, just as an additional bit of support for these, unless it is simply there for the drawer runners. But with them being there, I think they're going to need, they might need replacing. If they are simply there for as drawer stoppers, they can be replaced easily enough. I mean, looking at it overall though, I mean, yes, there's some work to be done, but I think once the base is done and the legs are done and the corners sorted, it might not be too bad. I mean, I think with this, I think that might be best off just chopped off. I mean, if actually, well, the way I would do it is I'd chop that off, I'd chop that nub off, and then I'd get a square cube of wood that would go into that area, screw it in that way, screw it in that way, see you later. But that might not be how my dad suggests to do it, so we'll have to wait and see. But the actual base though, I think I could I could mainly crack on with that. But at least with this how it is now, my dad can get a better look at this end as well, and I'll go and talk to him in a minute about what I think. And then yeah, we'll see how we get on. It'll be interesting to see how it will look when we're done. Now, I know that I had mentioned previously of the two projects, there's my table and there's the unit, and I was thinking about doing the table next, but to be honest, the table's taking up very little room at the moment. This unit is taking up a lot of room, it's big and heavy, it needs work on it. So personally, I'm thinking I'm going to make a start on that, at least to get the base and the legs on and the casters on, so that it can then just be moved. Having looked at the drawers, I've already shown you the one that definitely needs a repair. There's another one that definitely needs a repair. It's not as bad as that other one, but basically the bottom's just come out a bit out of it. And I'd probably say there's 2 or 3 that may need a little bit of TLC, and the rest of them actually aren't in too bad a condition. I don't know how much weight I'd put in on them as a draw, but I mean, maybe they just need new new base bottoms, maybe, I don't know. The thing is that they're not quite put together in the same way as the drawers in the cabinet. Whereas like the drawers in the cabinet, underneath, you've basically got a couple of pieces of wood that are pinned or screwed or whatever, pinned into the actual drawer, and then there's an additional bit of timber that's holding it in place. These drawers don't seem to be like that. I'll have to have another look. The thing is, like I said though, over the years they've had multiple alterations and adjustments, and so what one might be like, it doesn't mean they're all going to be like that. But yeah, there's a couple of them, at least 2 or 3 of them, that are going to need a bit of TLC. But at least now it's in a situation where we can go, okay, right, well the bottom needs this. Once that's done, the wheels can be on it, and then at least it can be moved out of the way if necessary. Or, for example, I can make a start on it properly, and I can move it so it can be in the way when I'm doing stuff on it, and then out of the way when I'm not. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see what it looks like when it's done. I mean, doesn't matter, old timber, new timber, once it's all been sanded down and it's all been treated the same way, it should look all right. So yeah, we'll have to wait and see. But at least now, like, we've get the rest of the wood, and and see what we've got. I do need to measure how long it is though, because it's got to be longer than 6 feet, and the average bed is about 6 feet long, so I can't imagine any of the timber that Steve's going to give us is any longer than 6 feet. And ideally for the long bits I'd rather be using one long piece of timber myself. But anyway, we'll see what we get. We'll see what we get and see what we can do. I mean, with the extra legs on it, it won't matter too much if I have to use multiple pieces of short timber. It's just connecting them together that can be a bit of a pain in the backside. But anyway, right, I think that's me done for today. It's getting a bit cold in here. Times it's coming up to 4 o'clock, and I'm pretty much ready to go home. I'm not staying here late today. So yeah, so sadly by Christmas the cabinet has not been able to be completed. Hopefully though, first couple of weeks in January, because I simply can't get the handles now. First couple of weeks in January, then hopefully I'll be able to do them. So yeah, so this, I mean, this might be, it's possible this will be my last video before Christmas. If it is, happy Christmas everybody. Eat lots, drink plenty, don't drive while drunk. Enjoy yourselves, and remember, it's not about what you get, or even it's not about getting anything at all. Don't let the commercialisation of it all get to you, because we all feel pressure to spend and spend and spend. It can be very difficult. I mean, it's odd for me in a way as well that this is the second Christmas where things are better than they were a few years ago, but I'm still always apprehensive. I'm still always concerned about what's around the corner, what's coming. Oh, and I got myself a new e-cig for 2 reasons. One, I was getting a little bit pissed off with my local co-op not stocking the e-juice that I like. And 2, I thought I would try this because I was getting fed up of having to constantly replace the tops in short succession on mine. And to piss Steve off, because he's got one of these and he doesn't realise how fucking noisy these are when you're using them. So imagine you're gaming and you're trying to listen for someone sneaking up on you, or you're concentrating on your qualifying lap, and all you can hear in your ears is this. No, I didn't hear nothing. No, I still didn't hear nothing. I'm not deaf. Anyway, right, that's me done. Have a good Christmas, everybody. And if you have been watching my Dave Gets Wood videos, then thank you very much for watching. You don't have to. I mean, they're not necessarily educational. I do it to show people what I'm doing to try and cope with the shit that's gone on in my life. So yeah. But anyway, thank you very much for watching. Have a good one, everybody. I'll see you all again soon.